Hi guys, I want to give away a few communication strategies which can really help you even if you are a conventional introvert person. Now, I've been putting videos and adding courses on business analysis, product management, and for management profiles in general. My target area has been technology, and I have worked with many professionals, students who are looking to get into technology space. So whether it's IT services companies like TCS, Infosys, or product-based companies. And in my experience, everybody is just focused on so-called hard skills like your programming skills, finance, or marketing, or anything. Now, the problem with this mindset, this approach, is that though you work hard on these hard skills, but over a period of time, you realize that these are not so hard skills because whether you are looking to get into programming or any other things, I mean, if you put some time into these things, you can easily learn them. Okay, my bad. If not so easily, then maybe you have to put really some effort, and these are complex things. But 6 months or 6 years, you can get there, right? Problem is the skills which we ignore with assumption that they are soft skills. And that is the problem. They are not soft skill. They are hard skills. Learning programming language, which could take few years, is not hard. Learning communication strategy, learning how to influence other, learning how to get your way is the hardest thing to achieve. In fact, in my experience, most of us struggle at some level, at some stage, as far as communication or influence in general is concerned. So, if you are somebody who is usually struggling to get your way in your personal life or your professional life, I mean, it could be your friends or your relative or a sales guy who's looking to sell you something, right? Now you are trying to say no, but they are assertive, aggressive, they will somehow corner you, and eventually you have to, in a way, agree to their terms. You find it hard not only to say no, but in fact, you usually struggle with putting yourself out there. You find it hard to communicate your emotions, feelings. So, whether it's personal space or professional space, communication and influence in general are probably one of the hardest things, hardest skills to acquire, to achieve. These skills are especially relevant in the professional space. So, whether you are looking to work as a programmer, developer, bank manager, insurance agent, anybody who is looking to work is going to interact with few people, right? And if you're going to interact, you need to have that kind of capability where you can communicate your emotions, you can sell your concept. Because, see, even if you are not into the sales, but if you are, let's say, a manager, you need your team to push hard to work few extra hours. If you're not good with communication, you are going to find it hard to convince your team to push or rather put that extra effort. And if you are working at a junior level where your manager is pushing you to work hard, work extra or long hours, and if you are not good with communication, you are going to find it hard to say no. So it doesn't matter at what level you are currently working, it could be junior, middle, or senior level. You always need to communicate and convince others. And if you are not good at it, your life is going to become really hard. Imagine you are in a meeting. Now there is some task, some work. Somebody is looking to assign that task, that work to you. You think somebody else should do it. Do you think it's going to be easy for you? You can just assign it to other person? I don't think so. And if you have attended any meetings, any calls, you know that you will have n number of people, and it all boils down to who is good at communication, who is good at influencing things in that call. There is no rationality, or maybe there is, but if there is rationality in your case, then it is your responsibility to push your case. Nobody else is going to do that. So you have to be very clear with your communication approach. It doesn't matter whether you are trying to bargain or negotiate a price for your next car, or you're trying to assign some work to somebody else. You are saying yes or no to your team or your manager. Unless until you are good at communication, you are always going to find it hard. So, these are some of the things which we are going to talk about today. And if you like them, you can let me know through your comments, and I will add more videos in this series, because what I have seen while working with so many professionals, that people don't focus on communication, leadership, and influence, and the so-called soft skills. I mean, these are not soft skills, these are hardest skills. You can learn programming, you can learn accounting, you can learn any other thing which is usually taught in a college, right? But to learn communication, you have to really practice it by doing things. And so I'm going to tell you a few things, but you have to promise yourself that you are going to implement them in your life. It is very important. If you just watch the video and do nothing, nothing will happen. So start practicing these things. So always try to understand the context. Whenever you are getting into a conversation, before it gets into a kind of debate, or rather it turns into a debate, you need to understand the context. You need to understand who are the concerned stakeholders here and what is their stake in it. For example, there might be something where it doesn't matter for you, right? Whether, let's say, your manager is asking you to do something and it is really small. Now, in that case, your stake is not very high, but that thing could be quite critical for your manager. In that case, even if you say yes, even if you are going to do it, you need to ensure that your manager is going to appreciate it. And that's the key with communication. It's not just about saying no. A lot of time you will say yes, but you need to extract that premium in your favor. If your manager is asking you to do something, you're not supposed to do it. You need to make sure that this is noticed. Everybody knows that this is something where you went out of your way, did something to help your manager, so that tomorrow if you need something, you too can get something from your manager, right? This is called reciprocity, and we will come back to it in few minutes. But point is, always understand the context. Who are the stakeholders? What are their stakes? Is it worth it to fight for it? Especially in your professional space or even in personal space, your husband, your wife, your friend, your relatives, your parents, your kids. Anybody could ask you something which is not very reasonable. But if your stakes are not very high, you probably don't need to just go out there fighting for it, right? So always understand the context, what is going on, understand and develop that awareness of your surrounding. Imagine you are walking into a boardroom, there's a meeting going on. Now, other members are your team members, and usually you have avoided speaking up and bringing your point or asserting yourself. But let's say right now there is senior management involved. Not just your manager, but your manager's managers are there. So in that context, in that environment, it's very important for you to ensure that you register your presence. They should know that you exist and you have got great communication skills, so that if next time they are looking to promote somebody, they know that you are that person who was able to communicate well, assert yourself, so you would be a better choice. So always understand the context and always set your objective whenever you are getting into a debate like situation, because a lot of time we are just fighting, we are just debating things, right? We don't even know what exactly we want, and when we know what we want, we are essentially trying to satisfy our ego. We want everything. That's not how it works. That's not how it should work. So if you are in a call right now, you need to just focus on your agenda. If somebody is giving you some work you shouldn't be doing, or somebody is not doing the work which they should be doing, it is your responsibility to set the objective. Because a lot of time, I mean, you start like professionals, but even before you realize, things get ugly. And it's like we are bringing old issues or something which happened in the past. You are doing that, the next person is doing that, and even before you guys realize, situation is simply out of control. So you shouldn't be doing that. Always make sure that you set the objective and be very specific. If it could be expressed in one line, that's how you should set the objective. Write just one line in a bullet statement or just a simple statement saying that this is what I'm looking to achieve in this moment right now. Even if I have to fight the entire battle, entire war, I will handle that later. But right now, this is what I'm looking to achieve. That's it. Okay? But when you are interacting with other human beings, it's not just you. There is a living human being involved in that conversation. So you also have to be aware of their emotions, their requirements, or even their ego. A lot of time it's like give and take. You have to do something, or you know take few steps back to accommodate their need, their requirement. So never back down from your primary concern. But if they are talking about something else which is not your primary objective, it's fine. You can give them some space. So always understand their demand and be reasonable. I'm not saying that use these skills to dominate others. I'm just saying that use these skills, use this framework to assert yourself. Okay? But don't manipulate or exploit others, because sooner or later others will revolt and they will fight back and it will be bad for you. So whether it's your family, friends, relatives, or professional space, always be kind, empathetic to demand or need of other people. And whenever possible, try to start with a positive note. So let's say there's a conflict or some issue going on, you are setting up a call. Now, whenever you start that call, as soon as you open the Bridge or WebEx or Zoom or Teams, whatever tool or application you are using, as soon as you start the call, always try to start with a positive note. It could be something like team achievement, or somebody has done well, or somebody has done well even in their personal life, right? So always try to start the conversation with a positive note. It sets the tone. And once you are into that debate, deep into that debate, when everybody's, just saying things, always come prepared with a reason. Always explain why you are asking for something or why you are saying no to something. Always give a reason. It's a human psychology. When we hear a reason, we comply. It's kind of instinctive. I know a lot of people won't comply even if they get a proper reason, but most of the human being, if they get a proper reason, they will comply. And it has been shown in the various kind of research that in communication, when you use words like because, I need it, because it's hot, because it's cool, because there's a lot of work, I can't do this, because I'm working on a X project, I can't work on the Y project, because there's a tight deadline, we have to show demo to the client, and that's why we need to push or work extra to achieve this milestone. When you add reasons, when you explain why we are doing whatever you are trying to do, that helps. It always helps in convincing other. It's not just about communication, it also sets your influence. If you are a reasonable person who is always presenting proper reasons, giving explanation, over a period of time you will brand yourself as a reasonable person. So a lot of time you will just get your way even if you don't present a proper reason. But always in any conversation, any meaningful, significant conversation, always give reasons, explain yourself. And if you look around, you'll always find good reasons for whatever you're trying to do. I mean, if you want your team to work harder, if they are not able to deliver on time, or they are able to deliver on time, but you want them to work on this weekend so that you can achieve some milestone, if you give that particular reason, if you explain why it is so important to achieve that milestone. Because remember, the best way to motivate others, to convince others, is by showing that they are not doing it to satisfy your ego. They are not doing it because you are asking. They are doing it because there is a need for it. So it is very important to highlight the reason. So always focus a lot on the reason. And if you are at the receiving end, you think that something is not doable, just say no. I have seen that people try to think their way. Don't do that. Especially if you are somebody who usually find it hard to say no. So if you are an introvert person or somebody who find it hard to say no, first just say no and then present your reason. If you first try to present your reason, people are interfering, they are countering your points, and if you are not a very confident person, then you will find it hard to say no later. Say no and then explain yourself. So always say no without even thinking if you know that you can't do something. Of course, you will have to think about the issue, context, and if no is really required there. But if no is really required there, just say it and then explain yourself. Because I've seen a lot of introvert people struggle with saying no. They will say a whole lot of things, they will tell you the entire story, including things which people are not interested in. It's like somebody is stopping them from inside. So always say no and then explain yourself. And whenever you are interacting with somebody directly, always be very careful about your non-verbal communication clues. Always be very careful with your tone and body posture. And these are part of non-verbal communications. But to put it simply, always be very careful with your tone and body posture. Even if you are asserting yourself, try to keep them in control. Shouldn't be very pushy. You should always be careful with the space which you should maintain between you and the next person. So if you are in a board meeting, these things are kind of easy. Everybody is sitting on chairs or whatever arrangement is there. But in direct interaction on the floor, a lot of time people forget about spacing. So spacing is very important. Always make sure that there is proper space between you and the other person. And as I have said earlier, be very specific. And then you have to follow these 7 C's: clear, concise, correct, complete, concrete, considered, and courteous. So these 7 points essentially sum up what I have said so far. So you have to be very correct. So because remember, if it's a conflict and if you are saying something wrong, people will come after you. If you're lying something, then forget about it. Never lie. Because remember, you can get your way once or twice, but sooner or later people will discover your lie. Then it will be really bad for your image, your branding. So always be truthful, always try to come up with correct fact, proper facts. And then try to present the complete information. Be very clear with your communication. If I am going to say that I cannot come on Saturday or I cannot work on Sunday because I have got some prior engagement or commitment, I have to be very clear with that. I can't say, well, I can't work on Sunday, but then I can't explain why. I can't provide the complete information. Right? So always follow these 7 things. And the courteous, as I've said earlier, you always need to be careful with the mannerism in general. Never try to behave in erratic or bad way. That could really be bad for your image. And just a note on digital communication: when you are writing emails or using even chat applications like WhatsApp or Teams, whatever application you use, never use jokes or satire. Because when you are interacting directly with somebody, you can say something, you can laugh, your body language, facial expressions. It's easier to understand that it's a joke. But a lot of time people say something, some joke in an email or some kind of satire, which is a killer in the email, especially in professional space. It's very bad. People don't get it and then it could backfire. So always avoid jokes or satire in your email messages. I've already talked about the reciprocity. So reciprocity simply means that give and take. So when you are doing somebody a favor, it's fair to assume that that next person will also return the favor. And it happens a lot of time. If you are helping somebody, a lot of time that person is going to help you when you need that. So whenever you get any opportunity to help anyone, always do this. It's not just a good thing to do, but also something which could help you in establishing your influence. So it's less of a communication, but it's more of an influence. So somebody is struggling with their code and you help them with something. If somebody is struggling with some kind of project management or program management or accounting concept, if you help them, you are essentially establishing your influence. And when you are in a conflict, in a debate, a lot of time you are trying to say so many things. There's so many thoughts going on through your brain. and it's just not possible to process it, especially if you are somebody who's not very good at handling so many thoughts, right? So counting is one of the best mechanism. So somebody will suggest you to count up to 5 or 10 or 50. I'll say pick any number which works for you. It could be 30, it could be 60 or 300, but never reply to emails when you are angry. Never speak up in meetings when you are angry, because when you are angry you are capable of saying things which you will usually not say, and they could really backfire and could be bad for your image. So don't do this. Take few deep breaths, count up to 30, 40, whatever works for you, calm down, and then resume your conversation. If you are working in an international setup, let's say you are based out of India, your team is in America or Europe or elsewhere, always study the cultural nuances of that country. So if you are working with, let's say, Indian and German are working together, so German should study about Indian culture and Indian should study about German culture. A lot of time in Asia, in fact, I have seen that there are cases where they won't say no to you. Even if they are not going to do it, they will not say no to you. So you go and ask them to do something, they will say yes or simply nod their head. You'll go back assuming that work done. If you come back later, you will see that it wasn't done. And they never said no because they were not comfortable with it, right? So always study about the specific cultures you are dealing with. So it's like in certain culture you have to maintain a minimum distance when you are speaking with each other. There are certain cultures where you have to look into each other's eye when you are talking to that person. But there are certain cultures where you have to look down, especially when you are talking to the seniors in your company. So there are cultural nuances. There are places where people shake hands. There are certain ways of shaking hand, very strong, firm, or gentle. In India or few other Asian countries, we say namaste. So every culture has its own nuances, and these nuances, if you learn them and if you master them, then they can really help you with your influence. And influence is a part of communication. See, it's not just when you are saying something in a meeting or a call. It's not just about fighting your way in. It's about setting up your influence. It's about how you establish yourself in your company, in your team. And that's why understanding non-verbal communication, understanding cultural nuances, being nice to others, they always help you in the long term. Whenever possible, always try to incentivize or appreciate others. So if somebody has done something, please be nice to them, appreciate it. Now, behavioral insight is a relatively new concept. So it's like a framework where you have to grab attention, belief formation, choices, and determination. I have just mentioned it here so that you can Google about it, learn more about it. But if you want me to cover about it, please leave your comment. I'll do this. I mean, it's a huge topic in itself, so it will take significant time. So that's why I'm not covering here. And just a note for small business owners in setting up their branding, their influence. It has been observed that a lot of time they can increase their sale by increasing the cost of the product, because when the product is very cheap, very affordable, people literally take it as very cheap. So even if you're delivering good value, they will assume that it's not a good product, it's not a great product. And if you just increase the cost, the perceived value of that product really goes up. So this is a take for small business owners, and I have seen many small business owners and entrepreneurs who are pricing their products really very bad. I mean, they are pricing it really low, which is essentially killing the perceived value of their product and services. In the next video, I'm going to talk about power posing. And power posing can really change your life. It's a completely new phenomenon and it's very good. The impacts could be really immediate and it's really easy to implement. You don't need to buy anything. So it's one of the best things you can do to yourself. I will talk about that in the next video. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All right. And in the meantime, if you have any question or doubt, or if you need any clarification, please leave your comment. Thank you.